Hi there Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Boss Bounty video. And in this video I'm going to be reviewing the Star Wars The Vintage Collection Bantha from Star Wars A New Hope. Now of course this has been released this year as part of the Return to Tatooine campaign, where we've seen a few different items within that campaign. We've had a playset, we've had figures, we've had a HasLab, and now we have an all new creature to go with it. I say all new, we have had Banthas in the past, but this is an all new sculpt, and I'm really looking forward to checking this one out. It does include a packed in carded figure of a Tusken Raider, which I would imagine has been designed specifically so he can sit on top of that Bantha. But I would imagine that you'd be able to use this Bantha with other figures that we have, such as the Nomad Boba Fett, for example, from the Book of Boba Fett. I'm pretty sure he would look just fine on this Bantha. But in terms of the packaging, as you can see, it has been branded Star Wars double racetrack for Star Wars A New Hope. And I've got to say, what a fantastic photo they have got there for the packaging. We will take a closer up look at that right now. And yeah, so here is the front of the box for the Bantha. And as I said, that image there that they've created is just, you know, spectacular in my opinion. It really jumps out at you. You've got 3 Tusken Raiders there. Nice sand scene of Tatooine, and the Bantha just looks absolutely fantastic. Hopefully it's going to look as good as that outside of the box. But yeah, what they've done there with that image is just great. On the rest of the box, you can also see in the bottom right hand corner that we do have what you get with inside the set, if you like. So you get the Bantha itself and the Tusken Raider, who is carded. So if you don't really want to open that one up, I'm sure maybe you could use one of the Tusken Raiders from the Book of Boba Fett Tusken Raider 4-pack, for example. I'm pretty sure that they'll sit on this Bantha no problem at all. But, you know, I'm going to be opening up this one in this video, as I always do. And there is that card back right there. Top of the box, we have 2 more fantastic images. On the right hand side, we've got a close-up image of the Tusken Raider there in attack mode. And then on the left hand side, we have another image of the Bantha itself, this time with the Tusken Raider sat on top. That image looks absolutely awesome. One side of the box, we have another great image there, this time with the Bantha with the mouth open so you can really see those teeth. Other end of the box, we have 3 more images, one of a close-up of the Bantha and a couple more of the Tusken Raider there. Even the bottom of the box has another image there, which is slightly different to the one on the front and rear of the box. And here is the rear of the box, exactly the same as the front of the box, except for the fact we do have all the legal gumph down the bottom there, and also the Vintage Collection logo. But yeah, the actual image is exactly the same. But right now we are going to crack this open, check all the contents, and take a look at that Bantha. And in case you were wondering, this is how it's been packed inside the box. So the Bantha itself is under this big piece of plastic, and then the carded figure is laying on top. I've got to admit, in other sets they have protected the carded figure a little bit better, but it looks to be okay. We'll just take that off now. So there is a nice space for the bubble to go in there, keeping it protected. And there it is, nice unpunched card, and we'll take a closer up look at that in a second. So I'm going to open the figure up a little bit later in the video, but I just want to take a look at the card back while I have it in hand. I really want to look at the Bantha first before the figure, but yeah, the card back for this one is a nice image of the Tusken Raider sat upon the Bantha there. Nice image, and he looks great in the bubble as well. So it's a nice variant to the other Tusken Raider that we have, which is the classic image that Kenner used. And that one's actually on that 50th anniversary card, if I remember correctly, of the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm. VC 380, unpunched card, beautiful this one. So if you're a carded collector, you might want to keep this one carded, because obviously, as I said, the Tusken Raider there, I don't think is much different to ones that we've had before. I would imagine that it's very similar to the ones that we got in that Book of Boba Fett 4-pack, but what I would say is his rifle there looks really good in terms of the sort of paint applications on it there. You've got the brown and the silver going on, and also the gaffy stick there as well seems to be brown and silver, where in the past they've just been all sort of brown to save money or whatever, you know. So VC380, that's the carded figure, and now we're just going to check out that Bantha. Okay, so this is how the Bantha looks when you first get it out of the packaging. The hair on it looks a bit sort of flattened down, and that's because they've had him in like a protective plastic bag, and then those other sort of plastic pieces just to stop him getting crushed basically. So You're probably going to want to sort of fluff his fur up a little bit to make it look a bit more realistic. As you would imagine, he doesn't come packed in with any type of comb like a My Little Pony would, for example. But I'm going to see if I can sort the sort of hair out on the Bantha, and then we'll cut back. Alright, so before we take a closer up look at the Bantha itself, I just wanted to show you the fact that you can remove the saddle. So that's what he looks like without the saddle. And here is the saddle. I just wanted to have a closer up look at this. It is removed by this sort of little belt piece that just goes underneath the Bantha. And you can just see some of the detail. And this piece is actually like a really heavy piece of plastic. It really is. It does have some bend to it. And there you can see some of the different colours and textures that they've got on there. We've got sort of like beige colours, browns, light browns, more of a darker brown for the actual saddle piece where the Tusken Raider is going to sit. And there you can see these nice pouches on the side, like rolled up pieces of like sleeping material, maybe, that kind of thing. And just some of the rope details and everything going on. I just think it's a nice piece, and it's good that it's removable if you wanted to do that. But I'm going to be putting this back on now, and then we'll be checking out the details of the Bantha itself. Alright then, so that is the Bantha with the saddle back on. Now we will check out some of the sort of finer details of the Bantha. Obviously it's going to be quite difficult because he's covered in fur, but you know, we can move some of that fur away and we can see some of the details, especially around the mouth area and the feet area and things like that. But in terms of the actual body and what that looks like, it's impossible to see because he's covered in fur. Now I don't have any of the previous Banthas, unfortunately, to compare this one to. I would suggest that it's closer to the Power of the Force version than it is to the 30th anniversary version. And in fact, out of those two, I didn't really like any of them, but out of those two, I think I prefer the Power of the Force version. I think the fur is just a lot better on that version. The 30th anniversary one looked like, I don't know, it'd been dragged through a hedge backwards, basically. And if you touch that one, you'd probably need to visit a dermatologist soon after for some rash on your hands or something. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like a Bantha that had been through the mill, you know. This one looks better than both of those in my opinion, and yeah, let's take a look at the closer details. Alright, so first of all, we'll get a nice front on view of the Bantha there, so you can see him with his mouth closed. And if you just look at the horns on the Bantha and the detail that they've gone to with those, lots of paint applications going on, bringing out some of that detail of that sculpt, which is great. They do move ever so slightly, but you know, I'm not too sure why you'd really want to move those, but they do move a little bit. But I think if we just move some of the fur away from the face, then you can start to understand, you know, what this thing is made out of, basically. There you go. It's just one huge piece of plastic. And if you could just see in there, just see in the light, which is hard to see, you can just see an eye there and the nostrils. But as I said, the most important part is the mouth. So you are able to have the mouth closed or open, and then inside the mouth, we've got some really nice detail on the lips there. Decent paint application on those lips, just bringing out some of the detail, and also some teeth as well. And this particular Bantha looks like he's been going to the dentist on a regular basis because he doesn't have any sort of decay going on there or anything like that. He has some pretty clean teeth in there, does he not? But yeah, so when you are displaying your Banthas, you can either have them with the mouth open like that, or you can have it fully closed. Obviously, you want to bring that fur down. He has these sort of pieces of fur on his like moustache a little bit, which come down either side. So you've got one piece there and one piece there. You want to kind of straighten those out a little bit because mine, you know, obviously got flattened by the packaging. Same with that piece of hair that sort of, you know, goes over the front of his face, if you like. You just want to sort of mess that up a little bit just to make it look a bit more realistic. Obviously, he's got the hair on his chin as well. But yeah, that looks superb in my opinion, especially with the saddle and everything going on. He is absolutely covered it in fur. I'm getting it all over my hands. Fur completely on the tail. I'm just going to see if that tail moves. Yeah, the tail has a swivel on it, and that is it. Then when we look at the legs are articulated. I think they just swivel. Again, it's very hard to tell, but underneath the sort of longer fur, he does have that sort of shorter fur just around the feet as well. And then obviously he's got his toenails painted, just so you can see there, the toenails on each foot. And I'm just trying to see, oh, actually we do have articulation on the ankle itself. That goes up and down as well as the leg. It doesn't look like we've got any sort of ball joint on the hip joint, if you like. They just sort of go up and down, swivel. But as I say, you've also got the articulation on the feet itself. I'm just trying to check for any sort of knee joints or anything like that. There doesn't seem to be, no. But that's quite good that they've given us the articulation on the feet itself. Yeah, they're actually rocker ankles. Look at that. Rocker ankles for the Bantha. There we go. But yeah, I'm going to mess up the hair of the Bantha, but this looks absolutely fantastic. I really do like it. And of course, this is a dream for action figure photographers and things like that. Setting up scenes, dioramas, all that kind of thing. Having a couple of these in the background with a Tusken Raider on board is going to look flipping awesome. So there we go. That is the Bantha. Now what we'll do is we'll take a quick look at the figure that comes with it. We'll open him up, maybe do a quick comparison against a previous Tusken Raider that we have, and then we'll get him sat up on top of that Bantha, and then that'll be it. Okay, first off, let's take a look at some of the accessories. A little bit bent out of the packaging, but they'll soon straighten out. And there you can see the longer rifle for the Tusken Raider with some really good detail on it, actually. So it looks to be like a sort of silver piece of plastic, and then it looks like they've maybe painted the brown parts. That's what it looks like to me anyway. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then his gaffy stick as well. Pretty cool. Alright then, so here is the Tusken Raider that was included with the Bantha out of the packaging. And to my mind, this figure doesn't really have too many updates. In fact, from the waist up, it looks to be exactly the same as the previous Tusken Raider that we got way back in whenever it was, 2019, whenever the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm was. So here is that Tusken Raider. Now, I'm pretty sure that those are the same heads but painted differently, and I'm pretty sure that that is also the head that they used within the Book of Boba Fett 4-pack. Unfortunately, I can't get to those figures right now to show you one of those, but I'm pretty sure that is the case. If I went back and watched my review of that 4-pack, I'm pretty sure I'd do a comparison with this guy. So the difference between this guy is that this one only has the swivel hips, so he didn't even have any hinges at all. This one has the barbell hips. But I'm pretty sure the 4 figures from the Book of Boba Fett 4-pack also have barbell hips as well. So I don't really feel that there's too much that they've done to this. Unfortunately, he doesn't have hinges at the wrists. I'm pretty sure he doesn't. So they haven't really updated him to any extent. Really, all they've done is they've used the legs from the Book of Boba Fett 4-pack, I think, enabling him to be able to sit on the Bantha. Because then if we just take this one out of the way, we will be able to see the underneath. So there you go. He has the, you know, the barbell hips or whatever. And that is obviously what you need, along with the soft goods lower part of the figure, to enable him to sit on the Bantha. But apart from that, yeah, pretty sure that those hands do not, or the wrists do not have hinges, unfortunately. So they could have taken the opportunity to update him, but they haven't. But I quite like the tone that they've used for this particular Tusken Raider. The other one had a much sort of darker head, the wrappings and everything. And I just feel this one might be a little bit more screen accurate for Star Wars A New Hope, possibly. But yeah, I mean, it's always been a pretty good sculpt, that head anyway. And obviously he has all his like ammo belts and what have you strapped around his torso, as you can see there. And the belt going around the middle. And yeah, I can't remember whose legs they used for these Tusken Raiders, actually. Was it Obi-Wan or something like that from the Obi-Wan film? Maybe these are different legs. Maybe these are actual legs specifically for a Tusken, and these aren't the legs that they've used for the Book of Boba 4-pack. But yeah, I'll have to double check that. Sorry, as I said, I don't have access to one of those figures at the moment. They're in a cupboard that I can't get to. So there is the Tusken, looking pretty awesome. Now we'll sit him on top of the Bantha and see what he looks like. All right then, so there is the Tusken Raider sat upon the Bantha, and of course he looks pretty good because he's making use of the barbell hips and the knee joints and the rocker ankles, all those good things that we have on these modern day figures. He doesn't sit there 100% securely because there's no sort of like foot strapping or anything to put his feet into, if that makes sense, but essentially he sits there pretty well. He's not going to fall off unless you like knock the Bantha basically. But I think it looks pretty good. I mean, it does the job, doesn't it? It's exactly what I wanted out of a Bantha. It looks pretty realistic to me. And yeah, it's going to go great in my collection. As I mentioned, I sort of passed on previous Banthas. I was never really overly happy with them. The first release, I thought it just looked like a puffball. And the second release just looked like, you know, a down and out Bantha, basically. It never was that great, that fur on it, was it, that they did with that 30th anniversary one. But this one, I think it's definitely the best Bantha that they've made. Lots of detail going on. Articulation as well, where it's needed. And yeah, as I mentioned, I think toy photographers are going to have a good time with this one. So we'll just move him to the side so you can just see. Making use of the soft goods. And obviously, if you have got a few of these, remember to line them up in single file. But thank you so much for watching this review. I hope you've enjoyed it. Obviously, it's quite difficult to see a lot of the Bantha due to all the amount of hair, but I think it looks pretty good. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for watching. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and channel members as always. Your support means a great deal to me and it is super appreciated. So thank you. Thanks for watching everybody, and we shall see you on the next one.